Good day, students. My name is Dr. Salami Adeshina. I shall be taking you 112, that is Business Mathematics. We go straight to the first module, Module 1, that is Number and Numeration. We start number with fraction. Now, what is a fraction? A fraction is a number in the form x over y. That is a number that has two parts, numerator and denominator. The one up is the numerator, while the one down is called the denominator. Example of fraction is 2 over 3. Here, 2 is the numerator, while 3 is the denominator. Type of fractions. There are basically two types of fractions. We have the proper or vulgar fraction, and this is a fraction in which the numerator is less than the denominator. For example, in the case of 2 over 3, since 2 is less than 3, then we can say that it is a proper fraction. Another one is the improper fraction, and it's a fraction in which the numerator is greater or equal to the denominator. Example of that is 5 over 2. 5 over 2. Here you can see that 5 is greater than 2. A number that consists of whole number and fraction, we call it mixed number. It is common to convert improper fraction to mixed number. For example, 5 over 2, I can convert to give me 2 whole number 1 over 2. That gives me a mixed number. A mixed number. Now, operation in mathematics follows a rule that we call the BODMAS. The BODMAS. We'll have been hearing that since our primary school days. Now, what is BODMAS? B stands for brackets. O stands for off. Off in this case is OF, not OFF, like so many students will want to say. D is division, M is multiplication, A is addition, and S is subtraction. Now, these are the order. In any mathematical expression, when you want to simplify any mathematical expression, we must follow this order judiciously. Now, let's go to example. Let's take example 1. Simplify 5 whole number 2 over 3 divided by 23 2 over 5 of 6 whole number 1 over 2 minus 22. Now, we want to simplify something like this. Don't forget our BODMAS. We start with the expression inside the brackets. So, I have 5 whole number 2 over 3 divided. Let's convert this to to improper fraction. So, I say 23 multiplied by 5, which gives me 115. Then add 2 to it. You have 117 over 5. Off becomes multiplication. 6 whole number 1 over 2 becomes 13 over 2 by the same argument. 6 times 2 gives 12, plus 1 I have 13, minus 22. So, the next thing, we simplify further. You can see that I've not touched the expression outside the bracket there. We we finish with the expression inside the bracket before taking the one outside the bracket. Now, when I multiply 1521 over 10 minus 22, of course I can take LCM of that. When I take LCM of that, I have 1521 minus 220 over 10. Now, that gives me 5 whole number 2 over 3 divided by, I can now say 1521 minus 220, and that gives me what? 1301 over 10. Now, it is now the turn of the expression outside the bracket. I can convert that to improper fraction, which gives me 17 over 3 divided by 1301 over 10. And of course, I convert, my division becomes multiplication. So, 17 over 3 times 10 over, and of course, my final answer becomes 170 over 3903. So you can see, once you follow the rule of BODMAS, you can't miss it. If I have taken another way outside that rule, my answer cannot be the same. Now let's take example 2. Example 2 says, evaluate one whole number 1 over 4 plus one whole number 1 over 2 all over 5 whole number 1 over 8 minus 3 whole number 3 over 4. Now we can also simplify this. Now let's start from the numerator. We have 5 over 4. Of course, you should know how we got this now. 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1. I have 5. So I have 5 over 4. Then plus 3 over 2. Over the same thing here, I have 41 over 8 minus 15 over 4. Now let's simplify further. The numerator, I have the LCM there to be 4. So this becomes 5 plus 6. Now, let's take the denominator, sorry. The LCM there is 8. So I have 41 minus 30. Okay? Now, 5 plus 6, 11. So that gives us 11 over 4 over 41 minus 30. I have what? 11. So 11 over 8. Now, what do we do here? In fact, some students might be confused with so many slashes that we have there. But you don't have to. 11 over 4 is the numerator. Why 11 over 8 is the denominator. This could easily be written as this. 11 over 4 divided by 11 over 8. You can see now, it becomes easier. Now what do we do? Change the division there to multiplication. So I have 11 over 4 times 8 over 11. And of course I have 8 over 4, which gives me 2. So that expression gives 2. Don't forget that we also apply our principle of BODMAS. It is very, very important. Now, let's go to word problems in fractions. Problems in fractions. Now, let's take the first example there. 150 liters of fuel. A tank can hold 150 liters of fuel, and it is 3/8 full. How many liters can the tank? Okay, when 150 liters of fuel has been drawn from a tank, it is 3/8 full. Then how many liters of fuel can the tank hold? Now let's see the solution to that. We have, probably you have a car or something, and the car, a full tank of a car normally will have the number of liters of fuel that it can take. Now in this case, we don't know the amount for the full tank, but of course we are told that 150 liters was drawn from it, and we have 3/8 left. Now, how many liters can the tank hold? Now, solution. Now, the tank is assumed to be 1. The tank is assumed to be 1. Now, by the time we remove 3/8, we'll have 5/8. Now, where did we get 3/8? Well, we are told that after removing 150 liters of fuel from the tank, we have 3/8 left. So, out of a whole tank, which is represented by 1, we remove 3/8 to get 5/8. Now, that simply means that 5/8 of the full tank is what is equal to 150. Don't forget that we are told that we remove 150 liters to have 3/8. So it means that 150 liters is equivalent to 5/8 of the full tank. So our full tank becomes 150 times 8/5. When I transfer this to the other side, it becomes 8/5 instead of 5/8. And of course, this will be 30 times 8, 240 liters. So the full tank can take 240 liters. Let's go to ratio, proportion, and rate. Let's go to ratio, proportion, and rate. Now, what is ratio? A ratio is a comparison of things that are of the same kind. Things that are of the same kind. For example, you want to compare the weight of a man to his son. You are comparing weight. So we can talk about ratio. You want to compare the size of a vehicle, one vehicle to another. Then we can talk about ratio. Now, example on ratio. Normally, ratio in mathematics transform to division. Ratio in mathematics transform to division. Let's look at the first example there. In a crate of egg, the ratio of good ones to the broken one is 7:2. Or you say 7:2. Of course, this could be 7/2. Ratio transforms to division. Ratio transforms to division. Now, let's go. If there are 28 good eggs in the crate, how many eggs are there altogether? How many eggs are there altogether? Now, solution. We start by saying let the number of eggs be x. It could be x, it could be y, it could be anything. X is just a variable. So you can use x, you can use y, you can use anything. Now, good eggs ratio bad ones is 7:2. The ratio of good eggs to bad ones is 7:2. Now we are told that the good eggs is 28. Now if the bad one is x, that is equal to 7:2. And don't forget I told us that ratio could go as fractions. So I can write 28 over x to be 7/2. Now let's cross multiply. 28 times 2, 7 times x. So what do I have there? I have 28 times 2 divided by 7 equal to x. So, and from there, what do we have? 7 will go in 28 to give us 4. So, I have 4 times 2, which is equal to x. So, my x will be 8. So, the bad ones is 8, while the good ones is 28. Now, if good ones, good x is 28, bad x is 8. How many x do we have altogether? We just add this, 28 plus 8. I have 36x. So altogether, we have 36x. We have 36x. Now, let's take, I said something about ratio, proportion, and even rate. Now, ratio and proportion are sometimes used interchangeably. When a quantity is divided, the share that each person gets is called the proportion due to that person. So at times we can use it interchangeably. But that does not mean that they're exactly the same thing. Let's look at this example. We are asked to divide 12,000 between Iyabo and Tolu in the ratio 3:5. We are dividing the sum of 12,000 between two people, that is Iyabo and Tolu, in this ratio 3:5. Now, what do we do here? We add this. 3 plus 5 gives what? 8. Now, we are told that Iyabo and Tolu, that means that Iyabo holds 3, while Tolu holds 5, in that order. Iyabo owns 3. So, if I want to get Iyabo's share, I simply say 3/8 times 12,000. 3/8 times 12,000. And if I want to get Tolu's share, I say 5/8 times 12,000. So the proportion of each, so this gives us 4,500 and this gives us 7,500. So I can say that Iyabo's proportion of the money, which is 12,000, is 4,500, and Tolu's proportion of the money, 12,000, is simply 7,500. Now, let's take ratio. Ratio is also a comparison, just like rate. Let's take rate. Rate is also a comparison, but in his own case, it compares things that are of different kinds. Things that are of different kinds. For example, you compare naira to dollar. So when you compare things that are not exactly of the same type, of the same kind, then we talk about rate. We talk about rate. Now let's look at the example of rate there. 8 men and 12 women can complete a certain job in 6 days. We have 8 men and we have 12 women. Yes, we are told that they can complete a certain job in 6 days. They can complete it in 6 days. Now, the work rate, the men's work rate is 1 whole number 1/5 of that of the women. Men's work rate 1 whole number 1/5 of women's work rates. Okay, just trying to put down the information that we are given. How many men will be required to complete the job in 4 days? Now, how many men will be required to complete that job in how many days? In 4 days. Now, the 12 women that we have will be equivalent to 5/6 of 12, and that is 10. 5/6 of 12. How do we get 5/6? When we are told that the men's work rate is 1 whole number 1/5 of that of the women. So when you convert that, you have 6/5. So if the men's work rate is 6/5 of women, so the women work rate will just be the reverse. That is 5/6. Now, total number of men will simply be 8. I have that. And of course, 18 men will take 6 days to complete the job. Now, in one day, I will have 18 times 6/4. And I have 27 of them. So, 27 men will be able to complete that same task, assuming they are working at the same rate as has been stated earlier. Assuming they are working at the same rate. So 27 of them will complete that job in 4 days. Now, there is an exercise there that we can try. can try your hand on those exercises so that we can be more vast. Mathematics is a subject that loves practice. The more you practice, the better.